All right, let's get this presentation underway. Welcome to Metaphysics, My Perspective. Today we're going to do a PowerPoint presentation on J-seals and unnatural implant removal. All right, so I'm going to go over why this is important and why you should have this done, as well as basically read from my PowerPoint presentation. Now the picture on your left there it's a picture of where the J seals are located. These are also known as the Jehovah's seals, deaf seals. The reason they're called deaf seals is because in the area where they are activated and located, they cause distortion and basically deterioration. So what this does is it's genius if you really think about it, because these seals were placed on the left side of the body, which is the receptive side. And so this is where the higher self basically sends information to you, in your consciousness. And so what these seals do is they limit the consciousness that you can receive and or communication and connection with your spirit guides, your higher self, your ion presence, whatever it is you choose to, call these different types of connections. And I have to say, when I first heard about this, I did not believe this at all. But when I actually had mine removed, it was such a profound experience for me, one that I'm grateful for in every way, every day. For me, it was like I had one of the implants in and around the heart chakra area, and so I was unable to love myself and love others in the way that I can now, which before it was more of a codependent love instead of unconditional love. So it was, it actually felt like, I had a heart orgasm, and it might sound strange, but, for 2 weeks I was just running around just basically telling everybody I loved them, and it was it was very weird for me as well as for other people, I must admit. All right, so moving on. And before I move on, I also want to say that I have a business called Tactual Tarot as well. So that's why you see that at the top of the screen. I made this presentation some time ago, but I'm just now getting to the point where I can record it and do an actual live presentation about it. What are the J seals? The J seals, Jehovah's seals, are referred also as the deaf seals. They are energetic distortions at the planetary level, so everything born on Earth has these seals. They are located on the left side of the body. These seals may manifest disease in their respective locations. They are located on the axonal line 7 of Earth, as well as in the human energetic anatomy. What is significant about the J seals is that we inherit these from Earth's grids. So basically what that's saying is whenever whenever you incarnate on a soul level into the human form or the human body, you automatically get these as a part of the contract. So let me find my place here. They are unnatural, as is the death process that they cause. Biological transmutation ascension is built into the original angelic human DNA template, and the J cells as well as the Zeta seal prevent this. Now before I was talking about the blockage that I had in my heart chakra area, that was the Zeta seal. And basically how these seals are implanted are the ones that are responsible, whether you want to call them ETs, ultra-terrestrials, aliens, whatever, floats your boat. But basically, they knew that this time of ascension was coming. And so what they did was they actually used higher advanced technology to go back in time and to put these into the earth at a specific time and location so that everything born into the earth would receive these seals and basically have a frequency fence around them, which means it kept them locked into a certain frequency. So, frequency, vibration, most people that are even going to be attracted to this type of stuff is going to know what that means. But for the ones that don't, frequency is just like it's like a radio station. Whatever radio station that you're locked into at all times is basically what you're going to attract back to you or what you're going to receive. Just like if you're tuned into, an FM station, you're going to receive whatever's broadcasting on that station. And so basically, everybody that's on that frequency or vibration received these at that time, and uh, it was basically just I don't know if you want to call it just some type an experiment, however you want to put it. The fact is they exist, and that's how they got there. Whether you believe in extraterrestrials or not, there's the story. And like I told you before, I did not believe this until I had it done myself, and it was pretty profound. And I've done me myself, I've done thousands of these sessions, and pretty much the outcome is always the same. People usually feel tremendous, uh, basically a tremendous difference after they've had them removed. We also remove more than just that. We remove all unnatural seals and implants, so that could be anything that can be imaginable. So basically what I do is, for this process, what I do is I do it distantly, and I haven't done any live yet because it just takes way too long. I've done them live in person at a metaphysical shop. I used to do them all the time, but so I've done several live sessions. But as far as like a distance session, basically what I ask the client to do is lay down and relax and go into meditation. I usually send them some type of video that kind of alters their brain waves, puts them in a more of a relaxed meditative state, so that they are more receptive to this process. Because if the person is in their better state or more conscious mind or fight or flight, then they are basically their mind will be rapid. They probably can't sit still. A lot of fear would come up. So I asked them to listen to that video to kind of put them in that meditative state so that they were more receptive to the process, which has worked out. It's been great. It works out just fine doing it that way. And it's not a scam. It's not something I just made up, or it's been around for a long time. It's in a lot of ancient texts. There's 2 books that's actually been written on this called the Voyagers, and it's deep. It's not for the person that just believes that the physical world is all there is. Definitely not for those types of people. You have to have an open mind, and if it resonates with you, then it's meant for you. If not, then bypass it. But I'm one of the more cheaper people that actually do this process. Some people charge 200 to 600 for this process, which is ridiculous because they're just trying to get rich. But I charge about 65 to 75, depending on what you want done. I do offer extras for this type of service. It just depends on you and what you actually want. All right, moving on. The J-seal removal process is a specialized method of permanently removing on all levels of one's multidimensional anatomy. The J-seals, as well as any other implants that may be inhibiting one's ability to fully commune with and or fully expand one's consciousness. These seals and or implants are strategically placed in such areas that would interfere with the natural connection as well as the full embodiment of one's higher self. This is why they are also referred to as the death seals, because they block and or inhibit our natural life force, causing our bodies to deteriorate unnaturally. So if anybody that sees this video is actually into it, interested into it, what I will do below the video in the description box, I will leave links to contact me on Facebook, MeWe, Instagram, whatever you're using. You can also leave comments in the comment box. But what I've noticed with this is with this type of session. This is usually for more of the avatar people, like the people that are meant to do greater things on Earth, not so much just someone just living, more of the celestial souls, the star seeds, the light workers, people like that. Now, in a lot of these groups, I used to share this all the time, and a lot of people would delete the links and things like that because they just automatically thought it was a scam. But the thing about that is, if you are really connected to yourself and you meditate and it's calling you, then you know that it's real. I'm not trying to convince anybody of the validity of this service. Basically, what I'm, you know, trying to let you know is that, if it's for you, it is for you, and that's just the way it's going to be. Um, you're going to know it's like I said, before, I don't mean to repeat myself, but it's basically, it's going to call to you. So it's more for the avatars, light workers, star seeds, people that, that resonate with those titles, and so on. So moving on. How did humanity inherit the unnatural seals? All human beings are born with energetic distortions in the human body known as unnatural cells, as they were not created by Source God. According to the Voyagers, too, fallen intruder races known as the Jehovian Anunnaki created ancient implants in the Earth's grids. Since humans share an energetic connection with the Earth, we inherit these distortions at birth. These distortions affect your genetic structure and your ability to ascend. If holes are poked in the earth, those holes are poked in you. These seals literally manifest death and have created a cycle of death and reincarnation for millions of years. So, this is what I was saying before, with the earth, there's a reason why they call it Gaia, the reason they call it, Mother Earth. It's your mother. You are very much, a child of Gaia. You are, people rape, pillar, and plunge plunder the earth, and they don't even realize what they're doing. You might as well just be smacking your own mom around because, without that, we are created from that. And an example of this to kind of, prove that, this theory and what it's talking about here is that, 90% of dust is actually skin cells. So when they say you're created from the dirt or the dust or ashes to ashes, dust to dust, that's actually true. So a lot of these things that you laugh at and don't take seriously and think is crazy, you're not connected. And the reason you're not connected is because you're not supposed to, or these seals are interfering with your own consciousness and your own connection to your higher self and your wisdom and everything else that goes along with that. Moving on. All right, here's another description and picture. As you can see, it shows the zeta seal on this one, which is the fourth dimensional frequency fence. So basically, that blocks you. Can't, with that in place, you can't go any further. So there's a lot of, again, in a lot of these groups, Facebook groups, media groups, a lot of these people claim to be this and this and that. And, I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying that, if these people are walking around talking about this and giving you knowledge and things like that, and they got the J seals and the Zeta seals and the unnatural seals and the implants, lodged into their multidimensional anatomy, then, you got to think, is their information really correct? Because they're getting information not so much as, I'm not going to say that they're not getting it from Source God or the ultimate creator or prime creator, whatever you want to call it, but it does reroute your connection to other sources of energy. And they also actually feed off your energy with these seals. It keeps you locked in. Like I said, it keeps you locked in fear, and so you stay in the fourth dimension, so you never go any higher than that. And many people claim that they're in 5D right now. Well, they don't even understand what that means. It's more of a new age thing, and I'm not downing the new age. I got a lot out of that, but on the ascension path, you go beyond 5D. We are multidimensional. These J seals and this imprint that we're talking about here is a 15-dimensional anatomy. So we're talking about 15 chakra system. A lot of people have heard of the 12 chakra system. This goes beyond that. and it probably goes beyond the 15. But as far as we know right now, a lot of us know, and what I study and what I've been taught, it's 15 is the highest we can go as of right now. Uh, and then you also, they'll talk about density, and to me, density and dimensions is different. Dimensions are not places. You know, they are basically states of awareness. So when you unlock these dimensions by removing these seals, your awareness grows very much so. So you can see, you can see, hear, feel a whole lot more than, you could before, and just with the 3D consciousness. So this takes you above and beyond, and trust me, it definitely does. Uh, so yeah, the Zeta seal, as I was saying before, that, right there in the center of the chest, that's what one of the main things that I noticed. And I mean, it was really blocking it. And, I would have never thought that I had it. Like I said, the person that told me about it, I just did not believe it. I cannot stress that enough. But, and you also see the Templar seal down there below the Zeta seal, which is a 6th-dimensional blockage. So you can see how that affects you. That blocks you from gaining information and awareness in the 6th dimension. So there was a person that contacted me years ago, and she did she was quite profound in the work that she did and knew. She had a triple Pisces, so she was triple trine Pisces. Her main 3, which is basically your sun sign, your rising or ascendant, and your moon sign. So she basically was coming from a place of just complete oneness, and she tried to tell me that dimensions and density and all that stuff didn't exist. Well, Edgar Cayce said it does, and he was the most profound psychic that I've ever read about, basically. So that's who I'm going to go with as confirmation, especially being that most of his stuff was correct. 14,000 readings and being correct like that's pretty profound. So this lady was good, though. She knew a lot of stuff, but she was also coming from the opposite of Pisces, which is Virgo, and Virgo is very analytical. So Pisces are supposed to be more connected to God than anyone because of the water element and Neptune. But they also have the shadow self, which is the Virgo, and the Virgo is very analytical and narrow-minded, so they can't see beyond certain things that they think and are taught. They just I'm not saying it for all of you because it really depends on your chart, but just from my experience, they're very narrow-minded people, and they just, I have a sister that's a Virgo. I've known a lot of Virgos. I have a niece that's a Virgo. So they, they tend to, miss a few things. But, the thing about that, they miss a few things, but they believe everything, they really think that they've got a little arrogance behind them there, and they think that there's just no way. But, seeing things like this, and, and that's what gets me about certain things. It's, you act like certain things can't exist, or people act like certain things can't exist, but yet you look outside and take miracles every day for granted. You look at the sky, you look at how we breathe, you look at our existence, you look at births, you look at, the modern automobile, and you don't see that as a miracle. Do you know how much went into creating that? Seriously? So think about that. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that you're not attuned to and not aware of that has the possibility of existing. Just, people can create, great works of art, but sometimes certain things are just true. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. You don't have to believe it to see it or for it to be real. Case in point with this J-Seal, thing. I mean, they, like I said, I was narrow-minded, didn't believe that. I had Virgo on my chart, and there's no way dissing Virgos again. Just let me put that out there. But it's the thing. Just don't let your analytical mind. It's the point of this. Don't let your analytical mind tell you that something doesn't exist or that it isn't real. Because I mean, who are you to say what's possible? If you just look at all the miracles, it might kind of open your mind up. All right, sorry for that. Basically, me going on and on, that tangent, if you will, because I, tend to do that. So then you have with the 7th dimensional blockages, the Templar Axon seal. So there you go again. It's basically showing you that 4th, 6th, and 7th dimensional that you cannot access if you have these in place. All right, so On the right of the screen there, you'll see it shows you where they're located and it tells you top of the skull. Um, and again, it's on the left side, so that is your receptive side. So it's pretty genius. That's where you put them in. During these sessions, you will feel these being removed. Depends how deep of a meditation you're in, but when I did live sessions, you could really feel the resistance in people. Like, and what I mean, the resistance in removing these things, because it was like they were really in there. They were buried deep in there. So, and the clients that I've actually performed these sessions for. All right, so uh, moving on. All right, what to expect? Original divine blueprint restored. The removal of these J cells is the most important thing a person can do at this point in time. Better connection to the higher self. Assist in the DNA activation process. Receive much more intuition from your higher self, and you can start making free will choices in line with your higher self. Restore our organic imprint for optimal health and well-being. And natural light will be restored not only to us, but the Earth's crystalline grid. Evolution towards frequencies of love and higher dimensions. More psychic skills noticed. Reach higher states such as bliss and unconditional love. Back, neck, and knee problems dissipate. Breathe better and better circulation. And I can confirm that all this is very much true. Definitely, especially with the psychic skills noticed. I mean, it was unbelievable. It's still unbelievable. I mean, after this session, if you decide to have this session, after you've had it, it takes a little while to get used to certain things because things can be different. Some people, depending on their awareness, doesn't really notice a whole lot. Uh, I've even found myself having to point out certain things to people, like, did this happen? And then has that happened before? And they're like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think of it like that. And so you really just want to, it just depends how in tune you are with yourself and your own connection to source and all that, because, uh, you know, the main thing, I've had people say, oh, wow, after it's done, like they can feel the difference, they're glowing more. I do recommend, and this is a presentation I'll do at another time. I'm going to do the 12-strand DNA activation, basically seminar or webinar, whatever you want to call it, because that's the next step. There's basically, it's three, basically three that I recommend. It's the J cells first. With that, you also get the 15-dimensional auric clearing, which really cleans you out, and it removes certain imprints, like certain things that have been inherited through birth or through DNA. It removes things like that, such as a sorcerer, where that's like, if you're the type of person that belittles a lot of people, or tries to make people feel bad, that can be considered sorcery because you're using your words to harm, and sometimes you're not even realizing that you're doing that. But the better circulation and breathing better, definitely. And I actually use this actual J cell process myself. I use it. I've done it several times on myself, and I continuously use it throughout the years because it's kind of like a refresher. But yeah, I'll do the 12-strand DNA webinar later on after this, just depending on how well this does. I'm going to do that anyway because basically do it anyway because people need to know this stuff. I did notice this though from basically 2012 to 2017, there was a gateway that opened up. They recommend having these done. I still recommend it because we're still receiving solar flares, things like that. I would say that a lot of these sessions did help remove a lot of the basically imprints and cells that were located in the Earth's grids. So some of the newer children that are being born, some of the crystal children, more of the rainbow children, I know some of you have heard about that. They probably don't have as many of these cells because we, basically from before 2012 till 2017 and beyond, we have been working diligently with clients and things like that, helping to remove these cells and implants. But it's still something I recommend that you do, if not just for the experience, but it does definitely help. Uh, and again, I state my reputation on this. This is definitely something that I recommend, and uh, I've had very few complaints about this. This is, certain people that just don't understand what's happening or can't feel anything at all. You have to reassure them that it actually did happen. But for the most people, like I said, that are drawn to it, they definitely are very grateful. So that's the end of the JSEAL presentation webinar. Thank you for watching, and this is Metaphysics, and that's been my perspective. Thank you.